this is my idea. This is my vision. I have no money. So I have no boxing ring.
Go on.
But I think this could be a good thing. And I think I know it's going to be successful. So basically I just made a deal with them to where my one buddy basically gave me the materials for the boxing ring. And then my other friends gave me the materials to like basically just buy a ring, get the show off the ground. And then I said, I'll advertise this crap out of your stuff. These are the shows that I have scheduled. You can have VIP tables for them. I'm happy to pay the money back at things. And luckily I had a good, solid group of friends that believed in the vision and were like, yeah, man, no problem.
Come on.
And basically just like, and it wasn't, a ton of money, but it was, it was a lot more than the $30 that I had on my checking account.
Lee, you're the owner and founder of Harden Fight Company, Infamous MMA. You have a clothing line. You're also the former kickdown lightweight champion, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Brother, thank you so much for having me, man. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for doing this in your format. I think it's an important thing that you're doing. It's important, especially like, I think to give these younger fighters like a platform to kind of introduce themselves and, get sponsors and things like that, because it's so hard to make it a young pro or an unsigned pro and things like that. And the money's so tight. These guys are fighting for almost no money. You know what I mean? A lot of times, and it's guys like you, man, are really, really help those guys because they see on a podcast and they're able to go get some sponsors from like a local car dealership or whatever. And that can be just such a good, just exposure and stuff like that. So no, it's my pleasure. And like I said, I love what you're doing, man. It's important. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Absolutely. Well, I love to start my shows off by going back, man. Where did you grow up and what was childhood like for you?
Yeah, man. I'm a former fighter. So my childhood is probably like the cliche former fighter childhood. I don't think people with generally happy childhoods become fighters usually. Seems like there's a pattern there. You know what I mean? Some do, what I mean? But it's just like, but I lived in, I was born in LA, in California. And then my brother John, I was fairly young and we didn't have a lot of money. My brother John actually got murdered when he lived in California. And then my mom was from Wyoming. I'd never been to Wyoming. And basically that happened and we had like no money and we were really struggling. So my mom's like, we're moving to Wyoming. And basically I was like, what's Wyoming? Like, I don't know what that even, what I mean?
Yeah.
So we moved out here at a pretty young age, and that's where my mom's family lived. And here in Casper, Wyoming, central Wyoming, is a town of about 60, 70,000 people. And this is where I grew up, went to school and kind of just like where I consider to be home and things like that. So yeah, this is pretty much where I grew up. And like I said, I grew up, I never, knew my dad. We'd never met. And it was just always just kind of me and my mom. And we grew up, just kind of same thing, what Casper's a really blue collar, really rough town in those terms. And so just kind of, grew up basically in, not the best financial situation and with a single mom and growing up was kind of rough, but I had a great mom and I'm so thankful for her. She taught me so much. And so childhood was a little rough, but I'm so grateful for it every day because it makes me more grateful for, how my life is now. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. How did you transition into the fight game then?
Yeah. So the fight game, man, I just feel like it's one of those things that's almost like in your DNA, you know what I mean? You just have to like discover it. But like I said, I was living in Wyoming at the time, and my uncle, my mom's brother, was the security for this large bank here. And this was in the 80s,
Okay.
And so it was kind of a little bit of a different time. But I was probably 5 years old. Maybe I was a young kid, and my uncle was babysitting me basically, and he was the head security for this bank, and it was after hours, and there was like a lobby / break room, whatever you want to call it. But back then, like in the in the banks in the 80s, like basically a bar in the back room kind of thing. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
it's like late night. Long story short, it was, I got invited, and it was him and all his friends. It was the Sugar Ray Leonard fight. I think it was Leonard Hearns.
Okay.
And that was the first time I'd seen a boxing match or seen combat sports. And instantly I was just like, that was it. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was there. I saw it and I was just completely awestruck by it. And I remember I didn't have a lot of like positive male role models in my life. My uncle was a great guy. But not around me every day. But anyway, so I just remember distinctly like watching that and just watching Sugar Ray Leonard and the way he moved and is just the beauty of what he was doing. And I was just completely enamored by it. And then I remember looking around the room and seeing the other guys in the room, that were just kind of like drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and watching the fights. But they were all just fixated on Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I mean? Like he was like, almost like not human, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like a god in there. And I was just like, right then I knew, I was like, I don't want to be one of these guys sitting here drinking beer, smoking cigarettes. I want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to do that because it was just so spectacular and so magnificent, excuse me. So like after that, it was just, I started boxing and then, got into Taekwondo and stuff as a kid. And then it just kind of evolved into there. And then boxed for several years. And then, like I said, got to train at Team Quest for a little while with the guys there, Chris Lieben and Randy Couture. That's how I start. And then moved back to Wyoming and then started training full time, and just fighting was just all, once I was in it. And I just, like I said, it was just one of those things that I was just obsessed over. As a kid, I may remember watching like every Bruce Lee movie, all those corny Van Damme movies,
Totally.
like just like religion, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I think that's what happens with most fighters. You just get bit by that bug, and it's just like, it's a wrap after that. It's all you can think about. And I was like, that was kind of what happened to me. So yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And then when did you start Harden Fight Company, and how did that all come together? Why did you decide to launch that thing, man?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that. Yeah, it was like, and that's one thing that was weird because I fought forever. I never thought I'd own a fight promotion, be like a promoter. I still hate that word.
Yeah.
Because I just don't consider myself to be that at all, but I guess that's what I am. Like I own a promotion, whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird word for me, especially coming from a fighting background. But most of the promoters I dealt with were really good people. Steve Alley, that owned Kickdown out of Colorado, great guy. But anyway, the Wyoming Athletic Commission came into Wyoming, and basically they implemented the Colorado cost structure for events, and it basically wiped out the entire scene in Wyoming because we're so much smaller than them in terms of population that it just, all the shows that were here were just like, we can't afford to do this anymore, because in Denver you have a crowd of, or a population of whatever, 1 million people to draw from, and then in the town I live in, like it and all the surrounding areas, there's like 70 or 80,000. So just, it really shut everything down. And those are the shows that I used to fight in for several years. And it was just a bummer. And I think everybody missed it. And then one day I got a random call from a gentleman that had remembered me from the old fights and said, "Hey, I'm having a boxing event. Would you like to come down and judge?" And I had my son with me, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to go, sit ringside and judge these boxing fights?" And he's like, "Heck yeah, that sounds fun." So, we went down and did it. And oh God, it was rough. The show, at the end of the second fight, I almost like left, but I felt like a dude. It was just very unorganized. And there's like literally guys like smoking cigarettes and like drinking beer before they got in the ring. And like, it was like a tough man contest would be like a kind word for it. Like it was pretty rough. Anyway, so the ring, I don't want to bash on it too much, but it was really rough. But like I said, after the second fight, I was like, well, I feel obligated to at least stay here and be like a voice of reason, because this is kind of crazy. And again, guys fighting that were, 30 or 40 pounds apart in weight, and just like, it was just barely haphazardly thrown together. So I was sitting there with a friend at the time who was another former fighter, and we had a couple of beers, and then we just got the conversation like, we should just start our own shit. We deserve better than this, basically. You know what I mean? Because Wyoming and Casper's a big fight community. like I said, it's blue collar. People like boxing. They love mixed martial arts. We as a community, we've had better in the past. We need better again. So it's just kind of just saw the necessity for it. So he and I decided to just do that very thing. And basically like 6 months later, I just went through a breakup. I had probably like $30 in my bank account. And I came to a couple of my friends, Pete Maxwell and Matt Galloway, that owned a couple bars here in town. Then another friend, Shane Rivet, that owns a recycling company here. And I said, this is my idea. This is my vision. I have no money. So I have no boxing ring. But I think this could be a good thing. And I think I know it's going to be successful. So basically I just made a deal with them to where my one buddy basically gave me the materials for the boxing ring. And then my other friends gave me the materials to like basically just buy a ring, get the show off the ground. And then I said, I'll advertise this crap out of your stuff. These are the shows that I have scheduled. You can have VIP tables for them. I'm happy to pay the money back at things. And luckily I had a good, solid group of friends that believed in the vision and were like, yeah, man, no problem.
Come on.
And basically just like, and it wasn't, a ton of money, but it was a lot more than the $30 that I had on my checking account at the time.
Yeah, totally.
So and we did it. And like, I remember the first show, I literally had no advertising budget. And looking back on it, it was just an insane thing to do. It was just all like basically like asking my friends to share it on social media and things like that. And the first show, I literally like, I don't think I slept the night before, and I didn't know if there was going to be 20 people at the show or 1,000. Like I had legit no idea. We pre-sold, I think, 28 tickets, which was very terrifying. You know what I mean? And I have literally my life savings, these guys' borrowed money all pushed into the center. And then, we opened the doors, and then we always open doors at like 6:30, first fight 7:15. And then 6:30, the doors open and people just started flooding in. And I was just like, thank God. You know what I mean? I was just so relieved. And I think it was just that culmination. There hadn't been any legit shows for probably 5 years in Casper at that time.
Wow.
And so everybody kind of felt that I did in terms of like, okay, this is long overdue. We need to have this again for Wyoming and the people here. And it was just a big, then I had the people in the building, and then now I'm terrified something's going to go wrong. Like, is the ring going to fall in? You just have all these irrational fears and stuff, but ended up being a great show. And then basically from then it's just continued to grow and grow and grow. And that was 4 years ago.
Come on.
And it's just taken on a life of its own. So it's just, it's just kind of grown and grown and grown. So it's been a huge blessing, and all thanks to like my community for supporting me basically. And the fighters obviously too for fighting.
Yeah. And talking about community, I mean, you guys do a ton of charity work. You do community outreach. You run a youth program at your gym for basically free to anyone that can't afford it, man, which, I mean, world changer you are, man, because that's amazing. Some people can just get so motivated by what you're doing there. But why was it so important for you to be involved in the community and in the youth so much?
Yeah. Thank you, man. Well, that just kind of started as, like from the first show, we had a friend get really sick with leukemia, and he didn't have medical insurance. And I didn't have any money, you know what I mean, to help him. But I was like, it just kind of came in like, well, we can do a fit. We can get some, some of my friends, like that are females that are better at the stuff than I am, that are more organized than us guys, you know what I mean? They can actually organize shit and are smart. Yeah. So we got them to donate, go to businesses and get a few donations to get some kind of cool baskets. And we just said, well, we can do a 50-50 raffle and help this guy, help our friend out here that, needs to pay his rent and his things like that in the time while he's in the hospital. And it went really good. A bunch of people, bought tickets, and we got to help him out enough to at least pay his rent up for a couple of months. And like while he was in the hospital, and, not, a huge deal, but, enough just to kind of help him a little. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, wow, this is cool. We have to do this every time. Like I have this avenue with this building with 1,000, 2,000 people in it. Like we can do shit with this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides it. So yeah. And so every show we do the same thing. We go and local businesses are always really kind, and we'll donate prizes. We'll do a 50-50 raffle, and then have several prizes and do things like that. And it's always for a local charity. And it's just been, everybody kind of is just on the same page and all in on it. So it's been really good. And again, I don't want to take too much credit for that, because it's not like I'm writing some big check out of my personal account, because I'm definitely not. But I just felt like, if you have this voice and this platform, you got to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like Casper's a tight knit community, so we do that, and we've got to do like. It's just been so cool, man. Like there's every year now this is going to be the 4th year in a row this Christmas, where every show we either have a show in November, December, and there's the homeless shelter here, and then there's a women's shelter here, both. And this wonderful lady named Lindsay Craig has been in charge of the Christmas stuff for years there. And she approached me and basically, she said, "You guys want to help with this?" So now every year we basically, the kids that are there with their moms or dads, or they don't, they're homeless basically, or in the women's shelter, they're usually coming out of a not very good place, and there's not very much money. So basically we have them all, give them $100, say, you have $100, write a list to Santa. And then we go pick up the list, do the 50-50. And then this is going to be year number 4 that we get to fill all the lists for all the kids at the homeless shelter and at the women's shelter, which has just been like, I get choked up talking about it, because like I said, it's just such a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
And again, this is like, I want to be clear, like this is not me. This is a complete joint effort by the community that's all stepped up and really just comes all together, and everybody buys raffle tickets and donates and things like that. So and the businesses donate. So it's definitely not me, but it's kind of cool because it's something that we did, and now it's taken on a whole life of its own, and everybody is so glad to help. And it's just been so cool. You know what I mean? So it's just been so great to be able to have this little opportunity to do that and just kind of spearhead it and then just make it happen.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, starting with Rewebbed. They are the best digital marketing agency on the planet. I love working with those guys. Founded by a guy named Ian Inman. He's on a mission to feed 1 billion kids and help 1 million entrepreneurs. Go check them out. Tell them I sent you. Alpha Outpost, amazing monthly subscription box sent right to your door every single month. You can start for $5. They send you cool stuff like this. Go use the code TOPRATEDMMA for 15% off your order. Every time that I have a guest on my show, they say that's an amazing flag. Well, this flag here and many others that I own are from a company called Combat Flags. It's a veteran-owned company. They're on a mission to donate as much money as they can to stop soldier suicide. It's an amazing organization. Go check them out, Combat Flags.
Yeah, and then we just started, we have a small gym now that it's really hard for me to make it down there as much as I'd like, but we're doing a program. By the time this posts, it will be full-fledged going, but we're doing Monday and Wednesday at 5:30, where a kid's strength and conditioning and boxing and MMA that I'm going to coach one night, and then I have another coach, either Mike or Tyler, are going to coach on Wednesdays, but where it's a safe place for kids to come and train. And then if they can't, they just have to fill out an app. And if, we've kind of got it set to federal poverty level standards, to where if their family's making less than like 250% of federal poverty level, then they don't have to pay. And so they can just come, and it's just a safe place. And I just think it's so important, because Casper's really rough. It's like any blue collar community, there's a lot of drug use, there's a lot of alcohol use, there's a lot of domestic violence, there's a lot of just problems that come with those small towns, you know what I mean? And
totally.
Drugs and there's a lot of, that's why I think combat sports are so important, because for me, it was like, I like team sports and I was pretty good at them, but I feel like those people that go through these traumatic things for whatever reason are kind of drawn to combat sports, you know?
Yep.
And a lot of them don't fit into the mold of a football team or a basketball team or a baseball team, or maybe can't afford it either.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're just kind of, and so I think that, you know, if we can catch a couple of those kids and, you know, if they want to become a fighter, great, you know, that's cool. If they don't, I think just teaching them how important it is and how good it feels just to work out, you know what I mean? And just have that where, you know, because eventually they're going to have a job and they may not love their job. They may love it, but there's so many people in, you know, Castbox everywhere else that get off work and they go sit on the bar stool from 5 p.m. till 1 a.m. and then repeat. And that becomes their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you can get a kid whose family's done for generations, say, hey, there's another alternative to this lifestyle. Like you can have a beautiful wife, you can be healthy, you know, you can exercise and make yourself feel good. And there's alternatives to drugs and alcohol and just these things. And so, like I said, it's important for me just to at least show them, hey, this is here. And if you want to come take advantage of it, cool.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't, that's cool. So it's just a safe place. Again, I don't want to take too much credit for that because that's been a group effort with all my friends and other donors and stuff too. So it's just something that I feel like I owe back because the gym, you know, I got in a lot of trouble growing up and I was in a environment to where a lot of people, like I said, I didn't know my dad, but, you know, I'd see, you know, my neighbors' dads or, you know, their uncles and stuff going to jail for drugs and alcohol. And, you know, there's violence and domestic violence and these things. And sometimes there's kids that just don't have an escape from that other than school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at least it's a couple hours away if they need to. It's a safe place and they can talk. And I don't know, I think that's just such an important thing in, you know, in society right now. And we really need it. It's like the world's getting crazy every day. So
totally. Yeah.
If we can provide a tiny bit of help, then that's cool, I guess, you know. And we got a really good deal on the building and stuff. So it's a blessing and it's just getting started. So yeah.
Come on, man. That's awesome, dude.
Anyway, sorry, Eric. I just feel like I blabbed so much, buddy. You can tell me to shut up.
No, that's awesome, man. I love the story, man. It's awesome, dude. You're doing awesome, man. Dude, I mean, what's next with what's next for Harden Fight Company and, you know, Infamous MMA? Any events booked or anything coming up?
Yeah, we got right now we have a boxing and kickboxing show, which we try to do like half and half, like half boxing, half kickboxing, just striking only, December 19th.
Come on. Okay.
So that's pretty excited about that. Wyoming's kind of like half open and half not.
Gotcha.
We can have 250 people in an indoor event, but then basically what I apply for is a variance. So I can kind of section the building in half and have 2 sections of 250 so we could sell 500 tickets. Nice. So it's hard to break even with only 500 people, but we did it last one and I feel like people come out and support it. So it's good. So doing that December, COVID has just been rough, man. I'm sure everybody you talk to, like the promoters, the fighters, I get fighters calling me all the like big name fighters now that would normally not call me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they can't find a fight. They're just like, dude, there's no shows in this state. There's no shows in that state. Like, and I'm like, you know, even these big names, I'm like, dude, I can't afford to pay you just to get paid. And a lot of them are just like, dude, I don't care. I want the work. You know what I mean? So you could tell there's like a big need for the MMA and the boxing and all the kickboxing, all this stuff. Hopefully we get to some level of normalcy back. Cause this was the year I'm planning to expand to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then into Northern Colorado, into Fort Collins and Loveland. And I had shows booked there. I mean, I had 9 shows booked for 2020 and it turned into 3. Wow. Because Colorado's pretty much completely shut down. Yeah. So it's just like, but I'm remaining optimistic. I think, you know, this is temporary. So it's just like, it's a bump in the road. So it doesn't matter if it's not this year, it's going to be next year. If it's not next year, it's going to be the next. Like, I'm not going to give up. We're just going to keep growing and keep pushing. You know what I mean? Yep. Oh, totally, man.
I want to talk about your dog, because you have this Harley. You have this awesome dog named Ava. You strap her to your chest, man, as you ride. What's the dog like? What does she like going on those rides?
So for the people that don't know, this is how silly my dog looks. She's like she's like 6 pounds. Anyway, yeah, man. I got her from a rescue, and she's we think she's a tweenie, but she's really tiny.
Okay.
But yeah, I love riding motorcycles, and I felt bad because I work all day, and then in the summer I want to go ride. Well, I'm gonna buy one of those little packs and try to take her. And I know everybody's gonna laugh at me, first of all, which happens, which I don't really care too much.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I'll try it. So the first time we drove, like we'll go a mile, because I know she's gonna be more at first. So I was like, we'll go a mile, and for like the first half mile, she's just, you know what I mean? And then after that, she chilled. Like, she just chilled right out. And now she, like, anytime my bike starts, she, like, looks forward to it, looks for the bag. So, like, now she's, like, pumped on it. She's more scared to ride in the automobile than she is the motorcycle, which is really weird now.
Yeah.
She's addicted to it, man. So, obviously, I can't take her, like, on the highway or anything, but she does like to scoot around, and, like, we'll go to the bar and have a beer. But I do get some, just, like, this big, ugly guy with tattoos. This little tiny chihuahua.
Right.
But I don't know. It's funny, man. It's a funny thing.
Dude, that's so cool, man. So cool, dude. Hey, I wanted to do a transition to a couple fun questions here for us. I have these things called pod decks, essentially just random questions. So I'm going to pull one out, dude, and see what happens here. This one says, I mean, this is a good one. What's your morning routine like, man?
Man, I'm literally the most boring person on earth, man. I'm like, I usually on a weekday, I just I wake up, I drink a cup of coffee, and then I take my dog out to go to the bathroom and then run her around a little bit. I usually try to listen to a podcast or something in the morning, you know what I mean? Like just like whatever it is, like some Joe Rogan or an audiobook or something, and then tunes and shower and like usually get to work. That's about it. Sometimes I'll go for a run for a mile or two in the morning if it's decent out, because I like doing that because it's, you don't have to think about it. You know what I mean? You can just roll out of bed and like put your shoes on and just be like, go. And you don't even really have to be awake. You just like kind of going through the motions. So I do that sometimes too, but man, I'm not a morning person at all. I suck at it, dude. I hate it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I have been getting up at 4 a.m. 6 days a week for about 10 years now, man. And it's been, it took me a while to kind of adjust to it. But now, man, without an alarm, I'm usually up by 4:30, 4:45 every single morning. And then we've kind of built our own gym downstairs for the last 10 years. We have elliptical and treadmill and free weights. And so I just go straight downstairs and do what you do, man. Like half awake, man, and hop on the elliptical. And, you know, I did this thing over the summer called I'm calling it the 45-90 that'll be launching here soon. But essentially I did 90 days straight of 45 minutes of cardio. And I was like, dude, I'm getting rid of this dad bod. I turned 40 last year. I was like, I got to get rid of this dad bod. So yeah, man, 90 days straight of cardio this year and lost 30 pounds and is still maintaining that weight, man. And I think I've missed 2 days of workout over the last 130 days, man. So it's been
bro, that's incredible. That's hard in the summer too, man, because there's so many distractions. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, in the winter for me, it's a little easier to hit it hard because it's like in Wyoming, it's dark and freezing. Like when I wake up and when I get off work, I'm like, ugh. So it's like it's a little easier for me. But in the summer, man, you're doing that in the summer is like taking the bull by the horns, man. It's not. I feel like it's not as easy in the summer.
Right.
It's like you and Jocko up at that time, man.
Totally.
His cell phone number.
He's on my guest list for sure, man. Hopefully someday we'll get him on the show. Absolutely, man. I got two more questions for you.
Sure. Go ahead.
Favorite band or favorite type of music?
Oh man, I love all music so much, dude. I'm just like such a big music guy. My favorite, I love punk rock. Man, like Bad Religion, Strung Out, like those bands are like I just love them, man. They're just my favorite stuff. But if I'm not listening to that, I do like a lot of I love the newer like outlaw country, like Cody Jinks and Chris Stapleton and Tyler Childers and all these guys. Just man, it's so refreshing to hear those guys too. So I love listening to those guys too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last question for you, man. You have a super awesome son you've been posting pictures about. What's the best part about being a dad, dude?
Bro, God, I can't tell you, man. Everything, like being a dad is like the best thing that's ever happened to me, man. Like I have one son, he's 11, and it's just weird being do you have any kids?
My kids are 10 and 7, man. Yeah. So
10 and 7. Oh, cool. Yeah. So
yeah. Yeah.
it's like my son's 11, and it's just weird to talk about being a dad because like everything it's like every weird cliche you hear before you have kids that you roll your eyes at is totally true. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, and if you don't have kids, you're like, yeah, dude. But then it's like, oh, this is all real. It's all absolutely true. You know what I mean? So like everything about it. But yeah, my son's probably at least 5 times smarter than I am and more responsible.
Yeah.
So like he's like kind of the parent
right?
in our relationship.
Yeah, totally.
But it's just so nice, man, to be able to like I know I never had a dad, and it was very, very hard to not have that. And we never had any money either. So like just being close to my son and then, and just being able to just be gentle and loving with him and kind, and teach him that because I didn't experience a lot of that with the males that were in my life, but mostly just teach him that just compassion, and it's okay for a guy to be just kind and loving and gentle, and those things are so important, I think, that are just kind of grazed over in our world. And also just to be able to give him, it's not like I have a ton of money or anything, because I definitely don't, but to be able to give him all the things that I never got when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I don't spoil him, but just like there's so many things that is just like I just wanted so bad, and it's just so cool to just be able to like I said, not spoil my son, but just give him all the things that I wanted that I could never get. And he's just so humble, and he's so kind and appreciates it so much. So it's just, I don't know, just being there and just loving him is just everything, man. I just so lucky to have him. I don't know where I'd be without him. Like, he's made me such a better person. I'm just so grateful for him.
Man, so awesome, man.
Yeah, Lee, like I said, dude, you're
a
dad, man. It's like all the corny cliche things here are completely accurate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Lee, I also wanted to give you an opportunity just to give a shout out to sponsors, teammates, coaches. I mean, anything like that, man. The camera's all yours, bro.
Yeah, man. We have a bunch of sponsors, man, that have just been like down so much. I feel bad naming them because then I'm going to probably forget a couple, and then I'm going to get my ass chewed for them.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But like I said, like the guys from Gaslight Social and Galloway's, which are 2 local bars, Pete Maxwell, who owns Gaslight Social, and Matt Galloway, who owns Galloway's. Those are just like good friends of mine. And basically those guys are part of the reason that Harden Fight Company exists. Because like I told him, I was like I told you that story, I was like, this is my vision, dude. And they were just like, cool, here's the check. Like, it was just, and I was just like, come on. All right. Like, yeah, it was so cool. You know what I mean? So just stuff like that. It's just cool, man, to have people like that. So them and like Fremont Motors, and I know I'm going to forget Jason Nobles from Wyoming Bail Agency. I know I'm forgetting some other. I know, and they're gonna kick my ass. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you mentioned Jason and didn't mention me." But there's, dude. Honestly, that's the thing, is Casper's been so supportive, dude. And I just can't be I can't be like grateful enough for everybody's been so positive, and it's cool, man. And like I said, dude, that's why thank you for having me. I think I just don't want to overstate it, man. That people like you are so important, dude, because there's so many. I don't know, especially if you're in a smaller town. I feel like if you achieve any type of small success, which I don't consider myself to be successful or anything like that, I don't measure myself compared to anything or anybody else. But I just think there's, it's like that 50-50 thing where if you experience some success, half of the people kind of like are turned off by it and can't wait to say something negative or want to see you stumble or want to see you know what I mean? They want to see you fail. They say, oh, this guy's got a podcast. What's he think he's a big deal? No, you know what I mean? And they don't, you know what I mean? They just want to see you stumble. They want to look for any little thing to nitpick you or whatever like that. And it's just people like you and like Pete and Matt and just all the people that just, even people that I don't know, that inspire me. But the other 50% are the people that are just like, understand that maybe if somebody else succeeds, that doesn't take away from my success. So they just encourage positive, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you're winning, keep winning. I'm proud of you, you know, and just like minded people, like you're, you know, like I mentioned in that post about, you know, what's seeming to be like your guys' ideology and things like that, to build people up and support them and like help them to succeed. And you want to see people win, you know what I mean? And want to see people get attention and love and just, and be driven and motivate people and things like that. So, man, yeah, like I said, just anybody like that. And like I said, thank you for having me on the show, because like I said, I can't overstate, man, how I'm like, there's so many people, you know, like I mentioned Jocko and you and, you know, all these cliche names, like, you know, whoever, Joe Rogan and these people that are like that, though. People like that build each other up and support each other. I think you guys, like you, are so important to the world, man, because, you know, you let me, you know, you people know that it's okay, and you know that you're doing the right thing, you're heading in the right direction, even if shit gets hard. So
yeah,
you keep up the good work too.
Oh, man. Thank you for the kind words, man. I mean, you're a world changer for sure, man. Lee, such an honor to have you on the show, man. Really, truly love what you're doing out there, man, and keep kicking ass, man.
Awesome, man. Come out to Wyoming, come fishing with me sometime, big brother.
You got it, man. Hey, thanks for your time, man. Have a good day.
Thank you so much for watching the show today. I so appreciate it. Please leave a comment down below. Leave us a review. Share this video. We want to get it in front of as many people as we can. I'm going to continue to bring on the best guests possible and the best up-and-coming fighters, real stories. Thank you so much for checking it out. Have an awesome day.